How's it going, everybody? You got a rapid game here on leadchess.org playing aka Shah 9911, rated 2037. My current rating is 2053. Yeah, 15 plus 10 game. We'll see what we got. We got an Alekhine. Opponent's playing pretty fast. I think some people see the Alekhine and they're not terribly impressed. They just built out a bunch of moves. This is kind of a non-tradition. Usually bishop e3 is the most common move in this position. It can be pretty transpositional though after bishop g7. Bishop e2 though, yeah, this kind of strikes me as like not being aware of the line. Yeah, not being terribly versed, and that's normal. That's how most people are with the Alekhine. I think is either castles or knight c6 here. I don't think either move is terribly critical if you play one over the other. It's not a terribly tactical position at this point, although bishop g5 or bishop g4 is a move I do want to think about. They might play h3 and stop bishop g4, but if they do castles, I'm pretty sure I want to go bishop g4 here. Yeah, it's pretty common in the Alekhine to trade off the light squared bishop. Yeah, let's go for that. Knight c6 next. I mean, the h3 is probably a knee-jerk kind of reaction move by most people. We'll get a trade on f3. I'll play knight c6. Rook a to c8. Possible d5. With the d5 break, it's definitely helpful to have the bishop out of the way in some lines. This knight comes here and here in the event that this pawn is moved. I thought they would sort of do a knee-jerk reaction h3 because they've been playing relatively fast and stereotypical up until this point, but having a bit of a think. I mean, other moves for white here, bishop e3. Bishop e3 is probably the most obvious besides h3. Yeah, it's not very tactical yet. Just to say, not very concrete. Yeah, sometimes I wonder if I have an opponent like this who's like playing really fast and then all of a sudden starts to think on, again, which strikes me as a not terribly critical move, if like somehow they just got distracted by something else, because yeah, nothing's changed terribly. Like maybe a kid ran by their computer or something crazy. There's nothing with the tenor of the game has changed terribly much in this position. I mean, computer is definitely going to say white probably is close to +1 in this position. I think it generally likes the space white has. And yeah, for the first 10 to 15 moves of the Alekhine, if you look at it with an engine, the engine is not terribly impressed, but we're not playing engines, and the Alekhine has really good practical value. One, it's something that people don't see a lot of, and two, you can get some really interesting sharp positions, not traditional, that get people to have to think on their own, which is always oftentimes beneficial. Okay, this is not a move I was thinking of. What are they trying to do with queen d3? This is not... what? knight c6, knight b4, just hitting the queen. I mean, knight c6 is a natural developing move. I don't see any amazing threat with this. This is not a move I'm used to seeing at all. I mean, I don't think there's anything immediately wrong with it, but it's probably some kind of inaccuracy that I don't quite understand. It's one of those inaccuracies that you can't immediately concretely punish. So knight c6 is the candidate move. Threats that white could have with queen d3. I don't see anything. So yeah, knight c6 is the most glaringly obvious move. I don't see anything wrong with it. Let's go for it. Yeah, I had to have a bit of a think there myself, because that is, I'm not an expert on the Alekhine or anything, but I've played a number of games in the Alekhine, and I don't think I've ever seen this. Yeah, this is really interesting. So knight b4, knight d4, or sorry, knight b4, knight e5. Yeah, so this is going to get a little tactical all of a sudden. Knight e5, there can be a trade of bishops. I don't think I like this move for white. Like their center was nice before, and I think this just gets into the territory of being overextended. Is there anything with bishop f5? The problem with knight b4 is I wonder if my knight is just a little weird on b4, but maybe I can come back to a6 and go to c5. That is also a lot of tempi. Knight b4, knight e5. Or do I have anything else? Bishop f5. Bishop f5. I mean, knight e4 would seem to have the merit, or knight e5 would seem to have the merit of trading the bishop off for a bishop. I could also go knight a5. I could also take on f3. Takes on f3, takes on c6, takes on e2. I think I like that. Takes on f3, takes on c6, takes on e2. Takes on f3, takes on bishop takes on f3. Knight e4. That looks pretty good. Bishop takes on f3. Queen takes on f3, knight e4. Also looks pretty good. Yeah, I think I like this better than going here immediately. I'll be interested in the analysis to see if this was playable. This is probably also playable. Bishop takes f3, d takes c6, bishop takes e2. I don't think they have c takes b7. Rook b8, and I'm just no. And if they go c takes b7, I'll just take on d3. They can take the rook, but then I'll just capture their pawn. Yeah, that's fine. That's not a problem. takes on bishop takes on f3, takes on c6, takes on e2, c7. You can take my queen. C7. So bishop takes on. Whoa. Bishop takes on f3. Takes here. Takes here. c7. Takes on d3. Takes here. Takes. I'm just up material in that transaction. Yeah, the only real concern is even here I can just win the bishop, and if they go with the queen, then this should win a piece. Or not a piece, but a pawn. Yeah, I like this. Yeah, this queen d3 plus this pawn push, I don't know. I would be surprised if the engine doesn't say that's inaccurate. But one, I have to be precise, and two, I could be mistaken somehow, but I'm not seeing it. Also, there's this. I forgot about this. It just wins a pawn. That actually might be simplest if they capture on c6. Although I could definitely capture on e2. That actually probably is, no. If I take on e2, the queen can just take on e2. I can take on c6. Yeah, there's a number of good options here. Yeah, we'll see what they do. Yeah, nothing was really tactical up until this point. The two armies met, so to speak. Heard a quote before, something like, a chess game doesn't really begin until there's been a capture. So against this, I was saying knight e5, hitting the queen and hitting c4. I think that wins a pawn. Although they do have queen e4, I could go f5. Is that an unnecessary weakening of my position to win a pawn? Maybe not. Yeah, I mean, I better just go ahead and play this. This is what I'm going to ultimately play. I was thinking that's the only way they retain c4, but then I can just get them off that, but they can move somewhere and retain their defense. So maybe that is not particularly great. But I can put this knight back here and attack. Also, whoops, also here. Yeah, I do think rotating this knight next is probably what I want to do. They do have to put their queen in an awkward position. I could play rook c8 too. So the queen comes out, rook c8. And if they try to defend by playing b3, their knight is hanging. So I should be able to have some tactic against that. Like just takes here and then takes the knight, winning a pawn. So I think I'm going to be winning a pawn here at some point. It's not immediately going to happen, but I think it's going to happen here over the next 4 or 5 moves. Yeah, okay, so they retain the defense of the pawn. Yeah, I don't know why I said they have to go here. They could go anywhere on the rank. Just rook c8, I think, is pretty obvious. Let's do that, just in the interest of time. Man, I'm a little behind on the clock, but it's manageable at this point. They could go bishop e3, hit this pawn. I mean, hit the knight, of course, but hit the pawn behind it. I could take here, and if they take my knight, I could come back and take. So one idea is bishop e3, they might be thinking, okay, I'm going to counterattack here so that if you take with this knight first, you can take this pawn, but they go here, I can hit this bishop, and if they come and capture me, I can just go like this. If they take my knight, I probably take with the rook and hit their queen. Yeah, I think that's right. But they could take here. Yeah, that's not, no, that's not right. Yeah, they take here and they're hitting my queen. So bishop e3. Are you trading this pawn for this pawn? So take, not this one, but no, not this one. Takes, but then takes, and if they take me, I take them. They take me, I take them. Maybe that's still off a pawn. Tactically, that actually might work. Bishop e3 takes here, bishop takes, knight takes. Sorry, whoops, got that wrong. Bishop e3, knight takes, bishop takes, rook takes. And if they try to say, hey, I'm going to capture your knight and attack your queen, I'm still going to take their queen. They'll take my queen, and then I have their bishop at the end of the line. And at the end of that, I have a bishop and two rooks against their knight and two rooks, and I'm up a pawn. Yeah, so that's fine. Pretty sure if that actually lands on the board, I'll have to triple check that, but because it's a complicated line. Opponent's taking a lot of time. I think, yeah, I think they had about a 2-minute advantage before this move, but yeah, they're taking a lot of time. I'm going to try to press any kind of time advantage if I can, because I'm usually on the other end of the time situation, and that is a good practical thing. Yeah, so this just loses a pawn, I'm pretty sure. Just take here, they recapture and take this. Is there anything wrong with that? Takes, knight takes c4, b takes c4, or bishop takes c4, bishop takes c3, hitting the rook. I could come back, and yeah, getting a lot of tempi there. Is there some kind of weird counter play that they have? They can't counterattack my queen. They have no checks. I'm pretty sure they saw that this just loses a pawn tactically, but they were hoping I wouldn't go for it, maybe. I don't know, sometimes you get in a bad position and you kind of hope your opponent doesn't see something, because that happens from time to time. Knight takes c4. Knight takes c4. Do they have any other weird things to get out of this? Knight takes c4. Bishop takes c4 doesn't get them out of it. B takes c4 doesn't get them out of it. There are no attacks on my queen. They don't have any captures here. I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, let's go for this. Alright. So I could counter their queen. Counterattack their queen, I should say. I gotta watch this pawn now. Bishop d4. Or sorry, bishop e5. Bishop e5. Bishop e5. I don't have to do that. I can do something else. Queen c7. Queen c7. I do like the idea of being annoying though. Queen c7, queen d7. There's no real threat with queen d7. Queen c7. Looks like it has a threat. Maybe I keep this in my pocket. Just have that tempo later. Queen c7 at this point. I don't see anything wrong with it. Just go for this. Alright, taking too much time on that though. I mean, we are defending this incidentally. I don't think this capture here is really going to work out in a lot of lines because my queen is behind. But it gives away something to think about. Rotating my knight to this square though seems like a more advantageous idea, although even rotating it over here could be interesting, although I'll have to do something about this bishop. This bishop is a little weird right now. Other ways to improve the position, getting my queenside pawns going seems to be the most obvious thing. So like a6, knight to d7, attempting to, I don't know, what do I want to do with these pawns? Maybe I just want to play knight d7 and b6. Although bishop e3 is probably, if bishop e3 happens, then yeah, the a7 pawn is a little weird. Bishop e3 is probably After bishop e3, do I have knight takes c4? Bishop e3, knight takes c4, rook f c1. I don't think that's working. Yeah, that's too much. Yeah, I do think my knight ultimately is going to reroute to d7. Yeah, what to do with these queenside pawns? It's so weird. I mean, it's not terribly weird, but it's a problem. Bishop e3 just looks to be if you don't have any other ideas, I don't know why you're taking all this time. Bishop e3. Bishop e3. What is my response? I can't play knight d7 takes. I could play knight d7. Bishop takes a7, rook a8, and I get a2. And I'm hitting e2. It's plausible. I have a weakness on b7 after that. Although knight d7, no, yeah, they don't have bishop b6. I just knight takes b6. Knight d7, bishop takes a7, rook a8. There's no bishop b6 because the knight takes b6. The opponent's taking a lot of time, which I'm fine with. I'm going to try to keep the pressure up there. I would love to get my knight here, I think. Although, yeah, that's tough because I have my queen and my rook behind it. I don't know where I want to place my heavy pieces in this kind of position, especially if my knight goes to c5, maybe queen a5. But I have to do something about b7. Well, the knight would be protecting b7. Again, assuming, well, let's see what this dark squared bishop is doing. I hope my opponent's going to play another move. I don't know what's going on here. It would be a shame if my opponent just is letting their clock run out because they have a position they don't like. I mean, this is a playable position at this level of chess. I mean, much higher rated players would keep playing this position. They're only down a pawn. I mean, they have the bishop pair, so it would be pretty lame if they just decided to give up and didn't resign. Pretty lame. That could be what's going on. Okay, so no, it's not what's going on. So they're going to challenge the bishop. And their idea is that maybe I go knight a4 here. Knight a4, because if they take on c6, then I can recapture with a fork. And also I'm hitting the bishop on b2. Sorry, did I say c6? Knight a4, hitting the bishop on b2. Presumably forcing bishop takes c3. Knight takes c3. I pick up the e2 bishop. Maybe I pick up the c4 pawn after that. I think that looks pretty solid. Though again, the issue is this one. Do they have any way out of... I mean, I'm hitting their bishop twice. They could... No. They could defend it again with their queen. That would be weird. Yeah, let's go for this. I mean, they could do queen c1 defending their bishop, but I just go knight takes b2. Yeah, and they lose an exchange, so that's not good. They have to take on c3. Okay, so what? Okay, yeah. Yeah, when people make like instantaneous moves like that, that's no good. Yeah, obviously this was going on. They had to play one of those two moves, I think, and this was going to be the results. So, yeah. Anyway, let's check that out with the analysis board. I'm going to pull that up. Give me just a second. Okay, so let's check this out with the analysis board. So first thing I'm going to do is just pull down the chart of the game here. Why isn't this going all the way down? Let me see if I can adjust this to where it will come all the way down. Anyway, that's what it looked like. And the point here that I wanted to sort of underscore is, first part of the game, as I said, the engine does not like the Alekhine for the first 10 moves or so. And inevitably, if somebody is playing it well with the black pieces, which I was fortunate enough to do in this game at least, it doesn't always happen, it starts to drift in black's favor, and that happened here. So I had one inaccuracy, one mistake, so it'll be interesting to see what those were. But yeah, let's check it out with the opening book to start off. This is all pretty standard. Knight c3, I think it's the most common. Yeah, most common. Knight f3 is also pretty common. G6. They went knight f3. Knight f3 is second most common. Bishop e3, as I said, is the most common. I think in the Masters database you'll see bishop e3 is by far the most common. Yes, bishop e3 is 10 times more than any other move. Knight f3 barely gets played. There must be some slight inaccuracy to knight f3 that people at the club level don't know about, and that is reflected in the stats too. Black does much better against knight f3. Bishop g7. Yeah, I said bishop e3. Bishop e3, most common move here. Bishop e2, I guess the second most common. Black does pretty well against the castles. Bishop g4 is what I chose at this point, and it scores pretty well, 54%. This probably, whoops, I don't know what happened there. Yeah, so bishop g4, here we go. Let's check this out in the Masters database. Bishop g4, wow, bishop g4 does not score terribly well at the master level. Knight c6, they say, it's a much better way to go. That's interesting. So knight c6, bishop e3, and then bishop g4? Yeah, bishop g4. Yeah, I wonder what's up with the move order there. Oh man, that's so subtle. What's the difference? Bishop e3 and then knight c6? I mean, it's the same position. Yeah, I don't know. So that's an odd one. Okay. Anyway, bishop g4. Yeah, this move queen d3. not surprising, the computer says that's inaccurate. Yeah, and this is about where they started to drift. Knight c6, yeah, so it said, this is not surprising at all. I said during the game this looked weird, and then this looked weird, and the computer does not like either of them. Yeah, I wondered, what did it like here? Did it like this best? Bishop takes, oh, okay, bishop takes f3 was the best move, like by far. I'm glad I found that. So I was initially thinking about knight b4, knight e5, but yeah, bishop takes f3 is by far the best move. I'm glad I noticed that. Queen takes. Okay, so this is my big screw up of the game. What is best here? Knight d4. Ah, yes. I guess just getting the bishop, just guaranteeing a win of the bishop pair. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm not sure at all why that move did not cross my mind. There's some kind of weird tunnel vision. That's a pretty obvious move. And then let's go over here. This is the other inaccuracy. Yes, okay, so queen c7 is inaccurate. Rook c7, bishop e5. Rook c7, bishop e5, or queen d7. Rook c7. Yeah, I guess you want to defend this, and you don't want to lead with your queen into this. That makes a lot more sense, I think. Yeah, I was saying during the game that even though I was going to have three things on c4, like they had opportunities to like bring up rook to c1, and yeah, tactically that's just not going to work out. Usually, if you're trying to load up against a given target, you'd like to have your queen be one of the last pieces to go in, because otherwise it just doesn't make sense. But yeah, those were my two big mistakes in the game. So rook c7, they say, is an inaccuracy, but this move, where was it at? Yeah, knight e5 here. Should have played knight c4 with this guarantee win, or taking away of the bishop pair from white. Okay. All right. Well, that game I think was a good example of taking somebody out of any kind of opening prep they have, and just getting them into a good practical situation where they have to think on their own. And when they started thinking on their own, as we saw, first came this inaccuracy, queen d3, and then came this inaccuracy, d5. I think a lot of times people in my level and lower levels, they get these this kind of pawn duo, and they have a hard time just sort of letting it sit there. Most like grandmasters and just really good chess players will be very hesitant about pushing these forward because, again, they just take so much space. But I think a lot of people at my level and lower levels, you get this nice kind of pawn duo, and then you want to do something with it. So in this case, they wanted to make my knight do something, and that just doesn't work. Doesn't work in this situation. Oops, sorry, that was kind of out of focus there a little bit. But yeah, I hope you guys got something out of that. And yeah, we'll bring up another rapid game here soon. See you guys then. Thanks a lot.